So Pritzker once again jumps through. I'm just going to say this. Say it once. I think, at first I thought, Pritzker for president? Come on, are you kidding me? Come on. Then I thought, no, wait. He should not run for president. Hear me out. Pritzker should walk very carefully for president. Not run, walk. Walk, don't run, Mr. Pritzker, for the presidency. If you're up for it. So, that's what I think. That's what I think. And I'm not just saying that because he decided to law, or I don't know, was it Pritzker or was it the Secretary of State? Probably together they came up with it. They changed the now extended expiration of all driver's licenses from January 1st of 2022 out again till March 31st, 2022. I'm glad they didn't pick April 1st. I mean, April 2nd would have been a good second to March 31st. But March 31st makes it clear it's not an April 1st. An April Fool's joke. Unless, of course, there's only 30 days in March. Oh, my God, I better check my calendar. No, I'm kidding. So, there's that. So, douche baguette. That's my new nickname for right now. In IRC chat. If you should happen to see douche baguette in IRC chat, two things. Number one, it ain't real because you can't have a name that long in IRC servers. And number two, is it all one word? And are any of the letters silent? If you know your French, they are. Some of the letters are silent. Oh. So I'm driving here. I'm trying to find a mount, as you can detect, that can get my camera at an angle. I like the angle now and the centering of it. It's right above the air conditioning vent, so when I have to cool the sucker down, which is about 3 times a day, it can get up to about 104, 106 degrees. And because at one point it got to like 111 or 112 degrees before I realized it, Fahrenheit. Yes, one of the long edge started splitting away, and it's not a big puff, not a big split, but it's enough to where the battery gets hot enough. It is puffing out a little bit, so it's not out gassing yet, so it hasn't, exploded or pushed out. But it's, every Motorola phone I've ever had, I mean, ever, whether it was an easily replaceable battery or the kind where you had to take the top of the back off, whenever the operating system updated, the battery heating issues always occurred. There were no, and have been no exceptions to every Motorola phone I've ever used or owned. Every single model. There are no exceptions. Not in the smartphone era, not since the Eris, not since the Droid 1, or which was called the original Droid. It wasn't even, I don't even think they called it 1 at first. But the Droid and the Eris came together. The Droid was the sliding keyboard, if you recall, and the Eris was the same model, just no sliding keyboard, and a little bit thinner. But they used the same replaceable battery. You could swappable battery, and the Droid 4 had a sliding keyboard and swappable battery. I don't think I have either phone. I might. I don't think I do. I think I lost them. Lost them in a move. Oh, well, what are you going to do? I mean, I might find them on the internet. Somebody will try to crack them open and hack them, and then there's software installed. And the Droid and the Droid 4, I was able to root them both and put software on there that would like phone home and let me know if someone got them. And then I could go ahead and do some ponage and then suck all the data off of it and then thrash the data or shred the data as it were. Oh, yeah. Pritzker for president. Why not? I was thinking, too, you know, the job of president, and I think a better equivalent to that is mayor of big city. You know, which is why de Blasio's name is probably bandied about to run against Biden for a second term. But when you think about it, the amount of people that helped you get your shit done as a president are the same. It's the same kind of dynamic as a mayor of a big city. Well, you know, as governor, I think for the governor, you probably ended up doing a lot of the legwork yourself. You know, on the back end, or I don't know. It's the way. It's probably just television and movies that are giving me that idea. I don't know that it's got any. I don't know if that idea has any legs. But speaking of legs, I mean, Pritzker, you know, you gotta health up, man. You gotta start losing some weight. I'm no spring chicken myself, but just start losing some weight, dude. You get some of that fat off your heart muscle, and start walking to the presidency. But as I said, I'm not saying that because he and Jesse White decided to extend the expiration date again. They must have figured out a combination between Omicron resurgence and a lot of DMV people retiring. Some of the facilities have closed either semi-permanently or long-term, still aren't open, putting the burden on the ones that are still open. And then they closed Libertyville down well before the pandemic. Libertyville, Illinois. God, they must have closed that almost 10 years now. They just weren't, there weren't a lot of people going up there. That's really why they did it. And it was a full facility like the Deerfield, Illinois one, where they do the driving tests as well as the written and all of that. But now even the Deerfield one's been closed for a long time, except for the, they even closed the license registration renewal office, which is ridiculous in and of itself. That I don't think that was extended. Was that extended as well? Let me see if it was. It might have been. Let's see. That would be interesting because it happened after the November 1st deadline. I wonder if that could be right. Because Illinois has a thing about being retroactive, and they outlawed retroactivity for laws. But this would be, so the DMV stuff isn't a law, it's a regulation. So maybe they can get by with not having to worry about that being a retroactive issue. Because if they, what does the article say? Well, I'll check back on that and report back. There's no reason to go on that now. But yeah, this thing is recording live. It's recording and doing live. Recording locally. It's streaming live to YouTube right now. I can do simultaneous YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook if I want. And yeah, so this like a gooseneck style thing where I'm trying to bend it and get it into a certain shape. But the problem is, when you go much more off of this angle here, it puts too much weight at the top of the suction cup on one side or another, and then it has a peeling effect, and causing it to basically fall off every couple of days. So it's not very secure that way. It just needs to be a bigger suction cup. A lot of these kits need to have a bigger suction cup, and they need to have a universal joint at both ends of the connection, up at the top and near the phone, and possibly, and then the tube needs to be longer as well, at least another 8 inches longer, so that you can, because I would much prefer to have the suspension more above the phone than above and behind it, because again, it's forcing an angle. And as you know, if you have something hanging straight down, plumb, the force, there's only one force applied at the top, moving down from gravity. But you change the angle and amount of force as you bend or swing out from plumb at the bottom, and it puts more stress at different angles. Excuse me. Up at the top, and it gives it's effectively, it doesn't really make it weigh more, but it presents that weight at a stress point that isn't really designed for it. So the best way, and of course another way, is to have flat down on the surface here. Now it is a flat surface, but it's not made for suction cup, unfortunately. It's not glass or smooth. Although that gets me to thinking, maybe if I just got like a metal plate or a piece of plexiglass that I can lay down in here, and with a bit of Velcro, something that I can remove later and clean up, then I can reverse the suction cup so it points straight down, has a curve up. By the way, a curve up is not the most pleasant for women, unless you're not in doggy style. Yep. So I'm upping at near 30 frames per second. 13 minutes long so far, and then when people might join me, it'll pop. The chat will automatically pop up if somebody's joining me, but it won't you guys don't see the pop up, so that is good. But I can also broadcast this to a laptop simultaneously over Wi-Fi of a vehicle, as long as there's a separate cellular connection for that, and then I can go to an online web version of this app, Streamlabs, which is, people have been knocking Streamlabs, for the past couple of months, because they don't understand how to set it up. And it's not complicated, but out of the box, you can't run it. You have to set it so it's running at a slightly lower quality, so that you can get 30 frames per second. And then also, you're going to have to adjust a delay, and you want that delay, because the delay will prevent buffering. It will make chat weird, because your chat will lag behind about 30 seconds. But, as long as you make your audience aware of that, it shouldn't be a problem. Now, when you're upping a 5G, all of that problem is gone. Your lag is about 2 seconds at 5G, and 5G C-band, forget about it. There's no lag at all. You'll be able to hear people chatting before they even type it in. Yeah, C-band on 5G is, from what I've read, is supposed to be fucking amazing. So, and it's a rollout by Verizon. I don't know if they're calling it that, or if all of the carriers can have what is known as a C-band. C-band, if I'm going to take that at face value, so they're talking about the old satellite C-band, which has long been gone. Probably one of the first satellite bands that was made available before K. Kind of makes sense because they're using it locally, but they could also use C-band via satellite. Still to this day, it is available. So what that could mean is the elimination of having to have like what I call a mountain phone or a mountain man phone. You know, the kind of phone that an explorer would take with them into the Antarctic or the Alaskan pipeline. Just for like emergencies or something, or even regular communication for that matter. And then using the C-band via satellite would completely eliminate having to bring something like that big and bulky, where you could just carry your regular phone with you and have plenty of room for carrying extra battery weight, as opposed to carrying a big phone, which in and of itself has a huge battery. So replace that phone with a little more battery in smaller packs, distributed around your waist as you're hiking up and down. A lot smarter for explorers, I think. If the C-band is the C-band, I think it is. Yeah, see, I don't even have to look. I'm not even looking out the windshield. I'm looking at what my camera sees, and it's nice. It's real nice. Oh, man. So what you can use your Wi-Fi in your car for, so I'll get to a Kindle. Then you can watch the quality of your Streamlabs in real time, but just with a delay. So that helps you adjust your delay on your send unit, and then adjust frame rate and color and quality and lighting and all that. And you see the end results in your Kindle. So basically, you see what everyone else is seeing, as opposed to just guessing. And when those people complain about buffering, you'll know if it's a local buffering or if it's localized to the end user, the viewer. You'll know if it's your problem by walking through your Kindle, or if it's cellular connection, data connection to the people watching. Regional or specific or even generalized across carrier. Well, outside the sunspots, it's not going to be generalized across all carriers, but high sunspot activity can definitely cause issues. But cellular data, not cellular signals, but cellular data, and always GPS, my God. GPS can fuck up if you get next to a large body of water. There's always a dead. And the wider the beach, the wider the interference pattern is. But if you think about it, what is a beach and what is sand? What is sand made up of? This causes almost a Faraday interference on the plane over the sand until you get almost to the water's edge, and then it's cellular city back on. And over calm waters, you can go pretty far with cellular. But always carry a marine radio when you're out on the water, please. I love the sound of the Forester engine. Kicks ass. So what do we got here? We got oh, that's what's going on. Oh, I see now why. When I slam my hand down after grabbing seatbelt strap, which is what I do whenever I see a cop, because I never really, Share that with me. Oh, 423. Awesome. So let's see, focusing.